Call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Everybody's been here before, so I'm not going to waste any time talking about the emergency exits and all that. We are going to hold our meeting in accordance with the rules and procedures adopted by this board January 4th of this year.
Just remind everybody, in case of emergency, follow me.
That's always the case. Whenever there's an emergency, follow Ron. He'll be the first one out. Okay, tonight's meeting are all other board actions, okay? First item up is the Farmington Whitestone Incentive Zoning Project Report and Recommendations. I'll start with Ron.
Minutes, approval of minutes.
Oh, never mind. Let's go back and do approval of minutes. Approval of minutes. Anybody have any comments, questions on the minute? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Motion by Tim, seconded by Aaron. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, now on to Ron.
Okay, the town board asked for a report and recommendation from this board, as they do for every incentive zone.
Right.
Last night's meeting, the town board agreed. If you needed additional time, they were willing to allow it. And I leave that up to you.
Right.
So I have prepared a draft. I sent it out to everybody, identifying what I believe to be a very unique situation here. We've got a large tract under one ownership that has been zoned for a specific use for almost 20 years now.
Right.
That has not had any bites. Water parks, I guess, are a thing, an anomaly that no longer exists. But anyhow, that's what's involved here. We have a PD site. It is zoned for a specific use. The eastern portion of that site was originally identified for a residential use. And about 4 years ago now, I believe it was, time flies when you're having fun. The town board rezoned that to residential multifamily, which resulted in pintail crossings,
right,
apartment complex, reconstruction of Quintonshire town standards, and that's where we're at. Right now, we have a proposal before you that is seeking incentive zoning. They're offering a number of amenities. I have suggested that one additional amenity be the contribution to the much needed sanitary sewer there on Beaver Creek Road, something for your board's consideration. So tonight's meeting is to discuss my report to you,
right,
and to discuss your report to the town board, and for you to decide, is it ready to go or not?
Okay. Let me just clarify a couple things. The town board is not looking for us to say yes or no to incentive zoning. That's their job, correct?
Well, they're looking for a recommendation.
They're looking for some feedback on the incentive zoning.
In other words,
i.e.,
does the application meet the criteria in town
right,
code?
and if it does, or if there are any things that we see from an incentive zoning standpoint that they could do to make it a better project. We're not here to talk about the site plan and
We're not getting
all of that. We're not here to talk about amenities and whether or not what's what. We're here to talk about actually the incentive zoning project and our feedback to the town board on that. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same sheet of music, because sometimes we can get into weeds when we start talking about some of these projects about site plans and this and that and those types of things.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, Dan,
So, staff did do a review, it was a top level review, obviously, because we went into the weeds as well, as you just mentioned. All comments were forwarded on to Ron. I think the biggest thing that came up was that the staff, from what I was told, want you guys to just look at the incentives, make sure they're not gonna be a requirement of site plan.
Right.
but that's the only thing they were concerned about.
okay. Engineering,
No, engineering met with town staff and contributed towards the comments that were provided. I don't have anything additional at this time to offer.
okay. The applicants want to say anything? I mean, we're gonna just talk about the letters and stuff that we're doing and we'll kind of go from there. So we've received, Ron's letter. And he's drafted a letter for me to go to the town board. Certainly, you wanted to say?
I'm just gonna add that we have seen Ron's comments, we don't
Uh-huh.
have any issues with any
Okay,
comments.
okay. All right, okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, and I know that we did. I don't know if we mentioned about the incentives, but certainly the town board will take into consideration that some sidewalks are not amenities or incentives or whatever you call them. Because they're required, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we know that and the town board will take that into consideration. So I guess we're at the point, and I don't know how much the board has actually dug into this, because I think we need another little time to think about this ourselves. And kind of go over it and make sure that we're comfortable with all of this. So let me just start down with Tim and get some feedback and what your thoughts are on both the letter from Ron and the letter that's prepared from me and any other comments you might have on this application.
Well, I have read all the materials that were sent to us,
Mm-hmm,
including the, staff comment.
yep,
I'm in agreement with what is, drafted here, including the letter that was drafted from you that would go to the town board.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't feel as though I need any additional time to.
Okay.
move on this one, I'm okay.
all right, Doug,
The incentives, I think, were brought up in that guy.
right,
Those were.
Yeah.
Required.
no matter what.
So some of the others. Actually also. required. That would be something that maybe the project would provide.
Probably not.
No, they're tying directly into the force main, the trunk sewer,
332, right?
the big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be separate. Yeah.
Right, there wouldn't be any restriction from this project as it would stand today. But contribution to the town-wide project would help offset other projects as we've talked about with other ones.
Okay, all right, that is, so, I mean, with that, I think that does make sense. Items either come up that. Really incentive they work required based on the. That is something that. It's something that out for us.
Okay.
That's good, there was a comment about the which PRC mentioned that.
Right. Okay.
Which just came out this evening.
Okay. All right, Aaron?
With everything that's been put out, what I've read, I'm good with moving forward with this. I have no other comments.
Okay, all right. Adrian?
Couple things have been answered here tonight, but after looking at it and reading everything, I mean, I'm up in the air with the commercial space, like, I feel like it should be bigger, me a little bit, but a few little lots, and stuff. I just feel like there's too many apartments, so from before, so I don't know if I'm on board or fully yet with everything.
All right,
I mean, I get the draft resolutions and stuff, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. to me.
okay. I think, well, let's see, I think if everybody hasn't had a chance to read the PRC minutes, I think we can do that. I think that's important to see those pieces of it. And I actually haven't myself pulled them up. I've been crazy with with Veterans Day and all that stuff. So I'm gonna need a little time, like Doug anyway, to look at the PRC minutes. Overall, my comment is that although it may seem a little dense, that's really more for the town board to address. I think it fits certainly into the comprehensive plan for that area. Whether or not there should be a little more commercial space or not. My thought there is that in remembering that in today's world, commercial space is much smaller than it used to be. We're not putting big box stores anywhere. We're not putting, big old Best Buy stores anywhere. So the size needed for commercial is much less than it used to be. Now, that being said, certainly you can put a bigger strip mall or you can put, additional buildings on a parcel. So if that's what the town board envisions for that piece of 332, so be it. I think that's really, again, a town board issue as opposed to a planning board issue. I kind of look at our role very clearly in saying, okay, this is what incentive zoning has been approved. Now, how do we make it the best project possible? Now, given that, the town board has asked for our recommendation. So if we as collective group feel that the density is a little bit tight and that the commercial space could use a little extra space, we can turn around and put that in our recommendations. But it is a consensus of all five of us. So let's take some time. Let's look at this again with the PRC minutes. And let's just hold this over till our next meeting and we'll do it at that point. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, all right, so that's what we're gonna do with that one, so. We'll move on. Okay, next item up is the comprehensive plan review, 2023 update report.
Yeah, as you know, when the town board adopted the comprehensive plan, they asked the town ops committee to work with the planning board to prepare an annual report
Right.
on the status of all the implementation actions in the plan. We did one last year. I'm going to be preparing one for your first meeting in December,
Okay,
and we'll go from there. This is something that shows that the town board is following the recommendations of the plan and that it is a viable document. One of the things that is coming up, and I'll just use my little time here to show the correlation here, is the next year, 2024, we'll be doing the update to the Park and Rec Master Plan.
right,
We've started that with the Parks and Rec Advisory Board last night with a survey that they're working on that'll be going out to every resident in the town of Farmington. So
after the first of the year.
after the first of the year. Postcard will keep QR, is it? I show my ignorance in technology here. How to scan in and tie into the document. So
Perfect.
that's coming.
Okay, so we can expect that first meeting in December then.
Yes,
Okay, next item up is Dan with the 24 date. Yes,
I ask a couple of questions
certainly,
regarding the comprehensive plan.
certainly.
I'm just wondering, I've gone through the plan, concentrated on chapter 5, because that's the one that seemed to specify what needs to be done. But in the other chapters, there's an awful lot of detail, like, the different types of developments that have happened since 2011. the number of developments that have happened since then. So is it our charge to update that every year?
No,
Or is it
no.
just at the 10-year?
The implementation actions, okay, are specified and prioritized for like the first 5 years are the high priority. And I don't have total recall of all of those actions here, but that's what we're gonna be focusing on. So take a look at what you did last year. This year will be focusing on projects that were carried over. Some of those projects, the timeline will be carried over on simply because of the time lag that is involved with receiving awards or putting together design details or putting together code revisions and things of that nature.
So the plan is done, we did an update last.
Yes, first update, yep.
John, can you resubmit or resend out to us last year's update? Just so we've got something to look at.
Yep.
Okay, send that out, so we'll have some, okay,
All right, great.
Don will take care of that.
Oh, no, I wouldn't ask you to.
But I mean, there's a lot of detail.
Well, that's,
Because it's a damn good comprehensive plan.
Well, and the goals, the goals I thought was at chapter 3, I think, really good
Yeah,
in this doc.
okay, Dan, planning board's middle date.
Yeah, Chairman, this hasn't been completed yet. I anticipate to have it in your packets for your next meeting on December 6th to review and approve.
Right, and just so the board knows, the real issue isn't, I mean, there's a 4th of July question of whether or not we don't have that meeting. That's probably the only real one that's not there. But what Dan does is put all the dates together for PRCs and for, submittal dates and all the other things that goes with it. So it's a little more complex than just saying, here's our meeting dates. So, he's been,
Yeah, it has the submittals,
Right.
when you can submit for the applications and what meeting to go on to. We also like to put the county planning dates on there. Those haven't been released yet as well.
okay,
So we're projecting at this point,
Right.
but
okay, all right. All right, Kim, we're at your spot, open space index, perfect timing. Come on up and give us a quick overview of what you got for us.
So yeah, you can just leave it free.
cover with the mouse.
Yeah, so Ron asked me just to come in and kind of give you an update, so I thought I'd kind of give you an update on kind of what we did. So last year, we split it up. We got a recent list of the tax parcels. And our group split it up between, at the time, we had 5 members on the board. We split it up between all of us. And we went through each of these tax parcels and looked at them on Encore to determine if they were still in the same index with open space, or if it needed to be changed. And during that research, we did have to go do some field work, and then we submitted those changes to the tax. It's kind of a tedious task. This only has some of the sub areas, but we're going to have all of these updated in the next one. We'll have this.
So did you come up with a percentage of open space?
That will come out, Donna LaPlante is going to.
Okay.
So yeah, we will have a summary table like we did in the previous open space that has a percentage.
Because we're always hearing how Farmington is nothing but Henrietta. And those of us that don't know that there's only about 20% of the whole town, which actually fits into that spot from the town line to County Road 8 to the thruway, and that area is being built, but that's only about 20% of the whole town. So when I hear that, I go, yeah, but the rest of the town, the other 80% of the town is farm and open space and some of the rest. And of course, nobody believes it, or, or whatever, but it would be nice to have some of that kind of information. How much is ag, how much is open, type of thing, because you certainly get beaten across the head all the time with this, too much development. But it was set up that way. When did our first comprehensive plan happen?
1965.
65, that's what I thought. So, we've been planning this for a long time.
Yeah, so that will be updated. It was in the 2013 plan. It has summary table of all the sub areas, so we'll have.
Oh, very good, very good. Super.
So we updated obviously the introduction part, the agricultural lands, we touched base with Al Adams from the agricultural committee.
Yep.
Update that section, but we mainly relied heavily on the Ontario County Consolidated Agricultural District 2020 review report. Then we moved on to the wetlands of federal and state. To update that wetlands section, we utilize the environmental resource mapper. And current knowledge of changing regulations of both Army Corps this year and the New York State DC wetland regulations from the 2025 to 2028. So we made references to this. There were no changes on the map of the previous map. Next thing is we move on to the creeks and floodplains. We primarily use the stormwater interactive mapper for the creeks. Then not very many changes there. However, for the floodplains, we currently have a map of the 1983 firms, flood insurance rate maps. But we will reference the upcoming map changes that FEMA does expect in 2020.
I believe that included an additional 88 sites that would then be under flood.
Where you got the 88 from, because I attended the open house last week. And according to the data they showed me, there's currently 40 structures in the current special flood hazard area. There's going to be 13 structures in the proposed, and 7 of those being new.
Yeah,
Those are structures, maybe you're talking 85 properties.
yeah, well, what they did is compare the 83 maps to the 2023 maps that are out there now from FEMA. And then went to the property base. So you're comparing this scale to this scale to this scale. And we erred on the side of being overly informative by saying your property lies within, I didn't say your structure. Okay, but your property lies within, that's why over in your neighborhood. Yeah, so there's quite a few people over in Calm Lake that are starting to get a little nervous about all this.
And no haven to
Yeah,
some of them right along the creek.
so, this happened in Chile about 4 years ago. And it resulted in a cash cow for the surveyors because they went out and did their elevation certificates and everybody had their properties clarified for whether they had a structure in it or not. And that's something Dan's gonna need. I mean,
Yeah.
it's much larger and it's unnumbered A zone, so there's no elevations. And it's just, I look at it as though FEMA needs money to pay for these flood insurances that are happening down in Florida, it's just the way it is.
Well, so we did reference those changes in the.
Good, thank you.
We also updated the stormwater section to include updates to the MS4 program. And of course, the town being responsible for certain stormwater management facilities that were included.
So just a question for you on the MS4, that are other communities dealing as much as we are with this?
Oh, yeah, I mean, every community did see those proposed meetings that we have with the other 7 members of the Ontario Stormwater Commission. In Royal County, I think they have 20 members in their commission. Yeah, everybody's facing the same challenges. And we're still waiting for the next third iteration of the permit, which is supposed to be released in 2020. And here in 2023, that's still. It may be a good thing.
Yeah, careful what you
State
wish.
is the state.
But we did again make references to that. For the drumlins, we didn't really change much. And then the public open spaces section, we did expand the Auburn Branch recreational trail, and we included the. The commercial open spaces, we really did not make any changes to that. And then for historic sites, I conferred with Bill Harrington, who referred us to the comprehensive master plan for those changes. There was some updates, but not a lot. Basically the same information. And then we did some changes to the preservation tools. We updated that using a local open space planning guide and went into a little bit more detail regarding local use regulations, taxation policy. Then the last bit now that I'm working on is the sub areas and sub areas. So I have the tables finished actually on after this meeting, and just going through and reviewing it.
Yeah, I think they're all the way at the bottom of your report.
So we did make some changes with the maps. Let's see, so new engineers updated the maps. They used the initial comprehensive plan maps, I think from 2021 to update. We did add 3 maps to the plans that were there previously, the active farmland, strategic farmland map. We also added a stormwater facilities map and to the federal wetlands, there was a federal wetlands and drainage district. And I think we just had mapped the units. And then we also added a historic building and grounds. So it's kind of where we stand.
Very good job. A lot of work.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we would have the final to you.
Very good. Anybody have any questions?
Just like to add that the Conservation Board is now a full complement, which is great. Should be able to maintain this easier than letting it lapse 5 years or whatever the time period was. Almost 10, I guess it was from the last one.
Yeah, I think one thing I would recommend in the future is to start updating it early. Sorry, Dan, I think I closed you out.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, I think I would start updating it sooner.
Right.
Because I forget how much, you don't know how much time these documents take. Do them correctly. You don't know how to-
How often is this updated?
Every 10 years.
Well, and I would also add that I'm sure you aren't, but make sure your members also feel free that if they have any comments on any of the applications that we have in front of us, I think you see most everything that we do. Please provide feedback. Always looking for feedback on applications, things that are going on, because we see certain things and many of us have been doing this for a very long time. So sometimes we might miss something that you guys might catch. So don't be shy about letting us know how you guys feel about certain projects or certain aspects of certain projects.
And we've been starting to use more online tools like Amazon system.
Good.
Look at
Yes.
and things like that. Like maybe a year ago, we weren't.
Okay,
I believe we've improved.
very good.
That's a good segue into my pitch now.
Okay,
And that is that, you know, there are municipalities that with a open space index have a member of the Conservation Board sit at the table, to provide comments to the planning board as they're dealing with. And sometimes the Conservation Board gets the documents in advance of the meeting, sometimes it's after the meeting. And I would encourage consideration. It helps the Conservation Board members keep up to date on what's going on in the community. It allows you the opportunity for input on environmental concerns. And to be very honest with you, history has shown that over the years, a number of conservation board members have moved on to planning board positions, so.
I would highly encourage that if you have yourself or anybody else is interested, there's always a seat at the table for you.
Yeah, I've already started talking to some of the other numbers, so maybe having a rotation, I think we can kind of learn more about what you guys. do,
Right.
And then also communicate with you.
Yeah, and you don't have to necessarily come in person, it can, you certainly use the Zoom type of thing as well, although I'm not convinced you get full flavor without being here sometimes, but, certainly that's available, and we would not have any issues with that. So, okay?
Eddie, I just want to use this opportunity to say that Farmington is blessed.
Oh.
Kim has been a very valuable part of this
Sure.
process and getting the Adopt a Highway
Yeah.
going, people going out there and supporting that effort. That's great, and I appreciate everything you do, Kim.
Absolutely,
I think
certainly
that
do.
was the last one.
Yeah.
I think that's what person helps, or makes it go quicker for everybody.
Yeah,
Worked out good. Thank you for all you do, but if you need anything, plus let us know.
I don't know, thanks.
thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Did you get your daughter off to Europe?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, looks like we have one letter of credit for Loomis Road, everything signed, sealed, delivered.
That's to establish a letter of credit. The town board acted on it last night,
Okay,
and there's, all they need is the confirmation from you that you recommend it.
okay, do I have a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Moved.
Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Clerk, take a roll call vote.
Lucia.
Aye.
Beat.
Aye.
Aaron Sweeney.
Aye.
Adrian Bellis.
Aye.
And Henry.
Aye. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, we got two, okay, that was the establishment of letter of credit, now we've got two letter of credit releases. Both of them are all signed, sealed, delivered?
They're both finals.
Yep.
And they are sealed and delivered
Cool.
and need just your confirmation.
All right, do I have a motion to block these two and approve the resolutions as presented? Moved by Aaron, seconded by Adrian. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote.
Lucia.
Aye.
Beat. Aaron Sweeney.
Aye.
Adrian Bellis. And Henry.
Aye. Okay, open discussion. Ron?
First up is we learned this afternoon that the 1816 Quaker Meeting House has been awarded the consolidated funding grant from the state. So matching that $78,000 award with the federal awards, they're gonna be moving forward with that project up there.
Nice.
And Dan sits on the advisory board for that.
I do. If they don't have enough to do.
I was gonna say, you need more shit to do there, Dan.
I don't know who recommended that, but
Yeah.
they knew what they
I
were doing.
thank him every time that something comes through on my email.
They should. We're going
He's
to,
gonna be the next chairman, of Chamber of Commerce.
Well, we just added stuff? I guess some stuff we did that.
Never mind, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I didn't recommend that. No.
I'm like Ed did.
Oh, somebody else did, but I approve it.
The CAP grant, we got some preliminary engineering estimates of all the various sub areas.
Mhm.
And we're waiting to see what we get in the way of bids.
Yeah, we don't have enough money.
Well,
Probably not anyway.
when we put this grant together back in 21, okay, inflation, shipping delays and energy, and costs of living, weren't as crazy as they are
Yeah,
today.
tell me about it.
And, so we're going to, have to take a really hard look at that. See what we can and cannot. do.
Right.
The local law number 10 on phase 3 of Redfield Grove. County Planning Board met last week. We still haven't heard from them, but we know that they did recommend approval. But we had to continue that to the 28th of
Right.
November to act on it. We did get a list of uses for that single family home,
Right.
which I shared with Dan, and I didn't have any issues with it.
And what they've done is that home is there.
They wrote a list, like, what were a couple of them? The lawyer's office?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Limited parking.
Yeah,
yeah, very, very basic,
Hairdressing salon.
doctor's office, or
That home sits at the corner there next to the restaurant there.
Cassidy's.
They're gonna enter and exit off of 332. They wanna keep those
96.
uses minimalized so that they don't have a lot of parking.
Yeah, the traffic generated from
Right.
that separated is less than what it would have been otherwise. With combining it with what was originally lot number one. We talked about Whitestone, nothing, I haven't heard nothing on Farmington Market Center, other than they did meet last Thursday. And I haven't heard a thing about what they talked about. And alls I know is Midas, not Midas, but Mavis, what's the
Mavis.
tire?
Latest tire.
Mavis Tire, wanted to come in and meet with Dan and I to talk about their preliminary site plans, and I said, you better talk to Ange, not, he's the one holding this up, not us.
So is that locked in? We haven't obviously do anything, so someone else can come in, take that spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, they haven't got an approval, center zoning approval to do whatever the hell they want over there. So nothing, the bank or any of that is still up in the air.
Really not much.
nothing can build.
and whatever is built over there has got to be brought up to town codes. And that's gonna require a lot of sidewalks, a lot of landscaping. Yeah. We did receive the preliminary subdivision plat and site plan for Paddock Landing. That's the Powers property.
Right.
Dan's gonna talk about scheduling that. Mr. Fowler is still not giving us anything to submit to you guys, so I don't know where it's going. We talked about the resident.
The entertainment.
Oh, yeah. We talked about the resident survey for Park and Rec master plan update. That will be coming out here in January. FEMA mapping, all of a sudden people in Calm Lake are waking up and realizing they maybe should have went to that meeting last week. Because they're quite upset with what's going on. And then the county hazard mitigation plan update. We finally got the fire department, 2 reports today, one from the chief. And a second one from, is it Kathy? Who's the president? Carol. I had the right initial. And then finally, chapter 126 has been sent off to Soil and Water Conservation District, and we're waiting for their feedback, but that's moving, that's the on-site wastewater.
Thank you, Ron. Dan.
All right, your next meeting, is, Ron mentioned you have Fowler coming back and he has not submitted anything new, so I'm curious. Yesterday. So he did have a staff meeting with us, which I thought was productive, but then emails afterwards were not, so we're still trying to figure out what's going on. So he's working with staff, but at this point, the submittal date has passed, and
Basically.
You have to make the decision. You have to
Right.
give him a notice that this is the end date. We don't get what we want, you leave us no alternative.
Right, and I think that's something that
So that might be, that's what I was
Right,
trying
yeah.
to bring, not the.
staff needs to talk to our attorney, make sure we don't step on any over any lines, but if that's what we need to do, we need to do it. Because we're not getting what we want.
We're kicking a can, it's not like,
Yeah,
it's not like the other developer there on Williams Road or whatever, where he had a project going on.
yep,
He needed time just to hash it out, because the world was crazy.
yeah.
You know what I mean, like.
So, yeah, so that's where we're at. That will be back on December sixth. The next project is Paddock Landing. We are you're gonna see this submitted to you guys for subdivision and site plan. They're gonna run together. And seeker, we have to do a 30-day review, so you guys will receive it. And then start your 30-day review and coordinated review, and then we'll send it to the county. So really on December sixth, it's just being presented to you guys. You will not get staff review at that point, until get past the 30 days so that you have the seeker done, and then you'll have staff review.
And a reminder, that's an incentive zoning, so the number of lots and that is kind of set, and then we get pretty up after that.
And then you have a,
Same developer or just different name or something?
they finally named the project. And then you have a final site plan out for single family resident on County Road 28. And then obviously you guys just continued to your next meeting, the Whitestone review. As I said about the planning board dates, you'll have those as well. And then Ron will have the comprehensive plan review. So you definitely have a few things on your next meeting. Couple other projects I just want to bring you up to date on. Dollar General, they are moving forward fairly quickly. They did pave their parking lot this week. They are shooting to be open middle of December. The landscaping, just so you guys know, due to the weather right now, they've asked for allowance to do that in the spring. We've given that to them, and so they will clean up the pond in the spring, and then all the landscaping is all getting pulled out and all new is being put in the spring. They're also going to put in 3 streetlights to meet the streetlight design for us. So electric car corner, I talked to them today. They have a delay in the oil water separator. It is back ordered. So that is only for their service side of the house. So they're looking for a CFO with a condition that they can at least start their sales out of there. And then when the oil water separator comes in, we'll allow the service to move in.
Theory, they would only need the oil water separator if they were servicing other than electric vehicles.
Which they have permission to do, but
Right, so I guess they could get a permit to service electric vehicles only.
well, that's gonna be hard to monitor, so.
Okay,
Right.
Their application did say electric and hybrid.
yeah, well, no, it was everything.
They want to be able to.
They wanted to do everything, including F-350.
Which makes sense, because like Ron just said, hybrid has a gas motor. so you
Correct.
shouldn't
So
have
exactly,
fluid. So,
yeah.
Yeah, you have half and half,
Right.
so you
So
might as well just.
I did
see
work,
what Dan's saying.
I worked with the applicant to keep them moving along and get that business open. I know they've already turned on the chargers out front. So
I've seen them in use.
just so you guys know, we are gonna give a CFO with a condition that states that they can't do service until the oil water separators put in.
And screen.
Correct. So
Now, number,
they did put in some already. I haven't been by it. He did say that they were out there putting trees in this week.
I
Oh.
did see them doing something today.
there was nothing around it.
Yeah, they were doing something today. I don't know what they were doing.
So if you get a chance, he said it looks really good, but it's only about half of their landscaping package. The rest will go in the spring. They're using Bristol's, and they said that they wouldn't guarantee them planting right now on certain varieties. And so, yes, the rest of it will go in the spring. Then my last thing to comment on is our welcome sign. Speaking of landscaping, that is also now being pushed to the spring. Just because the chamber can't get a guarantee on our plants either. So the one on the dirt is by the road. We're hoping that they'll at least move the dirt around the sign for us until spring, but
So with that being said, can you give us our dates next meeting? I'll look down for the spring ones and I'll start circling when I'm gonna start.
That's fine. So, and
May 31st.
I'm gonna harp on the chamber president about making sure that it's taken care of by the 31st.
Isn't that gonna be you?
Whoa.
Isn't that you?
Those elections have not happened yet, so.
I'm gonna have to join the chamber just so I can go and vote.
That's all I got for tonight.
All right, man.
My list is much shorter. The site design criteria that we've been talking about for what seems like forever. The final version has been provided to the town staff. I believe we're anticipating adoption in 2024. So that's something to look forward to. I will say that there's a number of communities outside of this area that very much like Farmington's version and are trying to come up with a similar product on their end as well. So I commend Farmington for theirs. The MS4 swamp plan, that's something that we've been holding on to tight for a while. I think Dan and I will probably, I'm sure in 2024, we'll probably come back together and meet on that to try to get that adopted so that we're ready for when the DEC regs finally come out. I want to be in front of it instead of,
Lance and I are gonna work on that in our spare time.
yeah, after he joins the commerce, we'll have more time. And then lastly is, the boot camp training. I will be putting out a schedule probably sometime in December for next year. And then we're, a certain code enforcement officer, offered, to do some training in person. So I think that, with his spare of time that he has, no, but I think we're gonna try to do some in-person training as well with a similar product. So that I think schedule will be coming out shortly as well.
Cool. Ron.
And two things. Scott mentioned to the planning board that a contract has been signed now for doing the last two sections of Farm Brook.
Right.
Canandaigua Development Corporation has the contract, and they'll be using Schultz Engineers. Okay, and the other thing is, you probably saw the dense forest that's been planted out there on Town Line Road and New Michigan Road on top of the berms. May have to slow down to look at them, but they're there. They're still trying to figure out why they're all the same species when they should be different species. We're working on it.
Cool. Anything else, staff? We've got no public, I don't believe anyone's online, right?
I'll leave that line tonight.
Okay, I mean, I continue to work with staff whenever needed, take care of business. If you see some, by the way, in case you didn't see, the trailers and other stuff out there, next to the pool place have been taken out. Well, I don't care where the hell they went, as long as they're not there. As long as they're not in that spot that drove me crazy for 2 years, that they have been moved. So, that was a good thing, so. All right, that's all I had. Anybody have anything else?
The other thing I had, and I thought of it late, on that project for Whitestone was with the amount of apartments, and Tim, you may be able to help us. The school handle, are numbers still okay for our more students? I don't know how many will be students in that project, but with that many more apartments or, I mean, I know last time we asked for school input on the other corner. Yeah, that's a big project too. Is there?
What's interesting is every time we do an evaluation of student population, even with the amount of growth that's in Farmington, it's still, the reports are coming back flat.
Every year.
And we can't, the district can't really add facilities unless enrollment increases. But the next capital project, which we're still waiting for state ed approval to move on, so that we understand what the funding would be. We are going to add to this intermediate building, because there are they're running out of room in that building.
That's what I decided, I don't want I know it takes a bit to try to do more expansion, but I also don't want overcrowding. Stress on the school district that causes, because we did that, and that's the way it was when we did Hathaway's Corner. Got a report from school or something. I guess I wanna know.
Sure.
Before you throw 100 more, I mean, then you got the other homes over there going in, I'm gonna call it Powers right now, cause I forget what you said, Paddock or whatever, but Powers, so you get homes, I just don't wanna overload the school, and I don't wanna. But I understand what you're saying, the growth goes this way, it helps get everything moving, but.
Yeah, we can't jump until the data shows that.
Right.
We're increasing population, and the data's not showing that. But our superintendent and Pete meet regularly, so that they continue that conversation, and the district is concerned, because there is a lot of new housing, apartments, whatever.
Market's tight up there,
Yeah.
sometimes when you
Well-
get stuff going, so I mean,
And the next capital project is gonna work on that.
to throw more students or more people up there, it's like. I don't wanna market the intermediate, like the little kid school to get to the high school, or function from the high school. It's insane, but that's all, I just don't want the stress level. I just wanna know that we're still a thing for us.
So far, right?
But we're not making it worse, or like causing, it, which I guess you don't ever cause a problem.
And we do have the housing plan from the county that basically stated there's a critical need, I believe, is what it said for housing, certainly in our area, because of the closeness to Monroe County. Critical need for temporary housing.
Well, there's a critical need for affordable.
Well, that's
And-
true too. This will be market housing. This won't be necessarily
Market rate.
affordable. This will be market.
I know it.
You,
And,
you may be seeing something on affordable housing in the near future.
Well, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
The last time I had a conversation with Pete about that, working with the county. And he talked about how the county, there's a couple of things that Farmington doesn't have. One is transportation. We don't have a bus system. And two, it's,
We've got a great park and ride, our RTS bus system.
the call.
Yeah.
System. And then.
Those buses are all over the damn
They're
place.
they're looking more at Canandaigua and Geneva because of closeness to places of work. That's another conversation I had with Pete.
John, did you have something else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that Tim Terranova, the superintendent over there at Victor, gets the bi-weekly town ops reports. And I saw him the other day at Rotary and, was talking with him, and he really appreciates that because it keeps him up to date on where things are happening.
Right.
So, if there's an issue being developed, he's on top of it, and, we expect that we will hear if there is something of concern.
It's just one of those things.
Yes. Do you have anything else?
No.
Aaron?
Do we have restrictions on spoil piles as far as height? With these high? There's, on a walk, I ran across a spoil pile and ran home.
Just secure,
So it's still got,
they,
it's, the majority of it's stable.
And if they're working the pile, then. There's a whole bunch of different rules for that, but yeah, size is not really.
DEC does have some regulations on what they recommend, but it's more for maintenance purposes, like if it's gonna be something that's gonna be there for a long time. They do some have height and slope requirements, but most of the piles here are actively being used for the most part, which, like Dan said, changes the rules.
Okay, I would encourage everyone to take some time and look at the PRC minutes so that we can do something on that next time around. And like I said, the things that I look at are more from a planning standpoint, but certainly, the storage issue, I know that at least a couple members of the town board have been concerned about putting another storage unit in there. But if you're gonna put that many townhomes in there with no basement, you're gonna have to have some storage relatively close. Because they're gonna have to store their stuff somewhere. They're not gonna store it in their, well, they're gonna store it in their garage. Which means they won't put the cars there. Cars will be outside, but all the internal roads over there will be private. So they can park on the street no matter what time of year it is. So it's just those kind of issues over there. I get concerned about the sidewalks over there, them parking on the sidewalks, but it's private, so it's their issue, not the town's issue. So it's kind of an odd, it's an unusual project from this town standpoint, so. Anybody have anything else before I close it? Yes, Ron?
Did Peter send you guys the pictures of the other sites?
No.
I was just gonna ask, have they ever built any of this stuff somewhere else?
Yeah,
I believe they have, yeah.
we receive, I'll send it over to
Okay.
John tomorrow and you'll have it.
I tried
Cool.
like pulling up a website, but there's 100 companies called Whitestone Properties or different things and they know like. if it
Yeah,
shows,
they did promise at the PRC meeting in November
Okay,
that they'd provide that.
all right, nothing else? Motion to adjourn by Aaron, seconded by Doug. Any, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All right,